I'd like to kick off today's episode with a shout out to Jason. I met you at Vic Park a couple of weeks ago, and today we are looking at a pair of $60 shoes that I bought off AliExpress, a SideBike. Very pretty pair of knitted shoes, but how would they fare on the road? How do they feel? Are they any good? Stay tuned and find out in today's episode. Testing 1, 2. All right, cool. Now I love cycling shoes. I've got these, which is an old pair of Shimano S-Fires. Very nice, lightweight. It's got some special polyurethane upper, which is very hardy and nice. I've got my Supercast Kazes, which is leather, and leather's always really good. I've also got my Nimbles, which are leather as well. Gorgeous, gorgeous shoes with the brand new boa dials. Very light as well. But I've never had a pair of knitted shoes. And so, I couldn't pass up the offer when I saw these online, AliExpress specials. Weird name, SideBike, but they come with one dial. It is called Free Lock. It is not the BOA brand, but essentially it works the same way. Pretty smooth, and you pull it to release as well. Kevlar string or line, however you want to put it. And a first look at this shoe is, it's well put together. It's knitted. It's sort of see-through right here at the pedaling. Lightweight. And a few features I want to point out. So it's got very similar texture as some of the Bontrager shoes do have. The BOA lines, these are exactly the same as whatever you get on the other shoes as well. The quality of this dial, yet to see, but essentially they look very much like the BOA dials, almost like a rip-off. Essentially, even the sack height looks very similar. So you pull this up, look at that, almost the same nice click as well. And when you turn, nice clicks, and very, very well made, at least so it seems. It's got an opaque cover so you can see the insides of the clutch mechanism, a ratchet mechanism, and overall pretty well built. When I buy shoes, they have to be brand new. I will smell them. I don't know why. Okay, the inside, this is a size 41 standard foam liner at the bottom. Not much support or padding, but this is pretty standard, box standard with any big brand shoe. The inside is not carbon, so the inside, it's got it's almost like cardboard. I don't know what it is, but it looks like some sort of fiber material. But one thing to note is that these soles are nylon, so they actually can bend. It's pretty hard to flex, but there is flex in the shoe. Let me see if I can show you. You can see it bends, sort of. So, unlike the other shoes, like the Supercast, pure carbon, it is stiff. You can't bend it. There's no flex in this at all. Shimano shoes, no flex at all. It's literally carbon insole. And the Nimbles, carbon as well, and zero flex. Well, okay, there is some flex, but not as much as these nylon shoes. But these nylon shoes, I mean, for the price, 60 Aussie dollars, the question is, are they worth anything at all? Can you actually ride in them? How do they feel? And should you get them? Stay tuned for more. Okay, back to the shoe. A few highlights of the shoe that I missed out on earlier on. I was talking about a material very similar to Bontrager. The sole is nylon and not carbon, so don't expect super stiffness. I don't know how it's going to be. You can actually attach MTB cleats and SPD SLs. So SPD and SPD SLs as well. SLs are for the are these for road. And another thing about the design is this. It's got the material at the back is very similar to the Shimano shoes. So Shimano shoes at the heel, they've got this identical material, and what it does is that it grips your shoe or your heel so that your heel doesn't come out of the shoe. So that's pretty good. I don't have it on this pair of shoes. It's leather, it's a leather heel cup. And on the Nimbles, it's also a leather heel cup. So it doesn't exactly grip, but it's been designed to sort of hold your heel in. So I like this little touch. The fact that it comes on a $60 shoe pretty much blows my mind away. All right, we've got to install the cleats and we'll find out. I will go for a ride and we'll see how these shoes stack up. It was time to set the cleats up, and I used the 2 degree float, Shimano Blues. Had to go get some tools and get it in, but essentially it was really easy to set up while putting everything on. If you know how to set them up, it's pretty good. Now, I lined it up against the other shoes as well, just to compare, and as I mentioned earlier, because they don't have the same movement allowance, it's less of a midfoot fit. Now, I've just installed the cleats, put them on and jumped on the trainer a little bit, and first thing I've noticed is the fact that the cleat position, although I've slammed it all the way down because I prefer a slightly more midfoot position, as you can see, it's quite drastic. It's about, I would say, close to 1 centimeter further back, or further forward actually. So this is going to be pretty interesting. It was noticeable when I jumped on the trainer that the cleat position was different, and that's because the cleat position, the holes are fixed. So unlike some other brands like Nimbles, Supercars do as well, and Shimano, you can actually move the screw on the inside down. I believe that the more expensive model has that feature, but this cheaper one does not. So similar to Physique shoes with the cleat position further forward. So that's something to take note of. Okay, I'm going to be taking these out on a ride today. Hopefully everything goes well, and I'll let you know how they feel, if there are any hot spots, if they're comfortable, if the low down on the shoe. Well, something for you to note, my feet are pretty wide, and right now I can still move my toes around the front. It is pretty wide, all things considered, and this is not even the Shimano wide shoe. The reason why I use Nimbles is because they're nice and wide. The Supercars shoes are a little bit more narrow, but they're just wide enough for my feet. These are the Shimano S-Fire wide version, so it gives a little bit more space for those of us who've got wider feet. Quack, quack. It was now time to put the shoes on, get ready to go out. And here's a shameless plug for onlycalves.com.au. If you want to take care of your feet and also have nice, comfortable socks, Only Calf socks are the way to go. Now, putting these shoes on was slightly different. It had only one dial, and I thought it would be a little bit weird, but it actually was pretty comfortable. Standing up, look from the side, the back, very sharp looking pair of shoes. But let's go outside and see how it goes. Right, so I haven't even left the house, but it's worth noting that even when walking in these shoes, you can already feel the flex. So where the cleat attaches, yeah, the sole I can feel it's a bit springy. I'm not sure if you can even see it. Hang on. Right there, you can feel the flex when I'm walking. So I can feel the flex when I'm walking. So expectations aren't very high right now. Let me just clip in. Doesn't even clip in with a loud click. That is weird. I went out on the ride, and to my surprise, the flex in the shoe wasn't as bad as I expected. In fact, one thing about shoes, in my opinion, is that when you put them on, go out and do your thing, you should actually forget about your shoes. Forget as in forget that you're wearing a pair of shoes. If you know what I mean? You wear, set, forget. If you keep thinking about your shoes, if you keep looking down, if you keep feeling that something's off, then that is not a shoe that's particularly good in my books. So flex was the main thing I was actually concerned about when clipping in, when walking. But as I started my ride, I really realized that, hey, the flex isn't actually that bad at all. In fact, it made my ride a little bit more comfortable. There was sort of like a cushioning effect, and it didn't seem as though I was losing power or putting in more effort to sustain the same amount of power as I was going on. But this was only like 10 minutes in, so we've still got a little bit to go, and to see how the shoes would perform, and if this $60 is really worth your money and your time.
Ain't nobody like you.
Now I've only done about 2 kilometers, but I have some thoughts already, but I don't want to share them just yet. I'd like to ride a little bit more, see if my feelings about these shoes change as the kilometers rack up. I was quietly confident that the shoes would be comfortable as I embarked on this ride. It was about an 80k ride down south. I was going to catch up with a mate Lance and ride him home because he works down at Rockingham and he does his commute every single day. Well, on the days that he works. So as I was going, I was like, mate, these shoes are super comfortable. The fit is great, even though there's only one boa dial. There are no hot spots. It's not loose. It's not as flexy as I thought it would be, even though it did flex when I was walking. It looked the part and it was working the part as well. But, you know, I just wanted to make sure. And so I waited till I did a full hour of riding before I checked in again. Right, it's been about 1 hour on the bike. Just over 30k is done. And I'm really surprised. To me, a good shoe is one where you put on and you forget about it. Just like everything else, you know. You do it, it fades into the background. Like socks. Good socks, you put them on, you don't think about them until you get home, take them off, chuck them in the wash. And these shoes, I've literally forgotten that these are $60 shoes. But of course, there are pros and the cons, and we'll get to that. Honestly, right now, as I am doing this voiceover, there weren't many cons at all. They look good, they're cheap, they work. But with all the pros, there has to be some cons, right? Right, some thoughts about the shoes. If I give them a out of 10 rating, I would say for $60, this is like 9 out of 10. No kidding. But I'm not gonna tell you everything right now while I'm on the bike. I'm gonna get home. Once I get home, I'll sit down and break it all down for you guys. And these SideBike $60 shoes available on AliExpress. Cool. It has been a week, actually more than a week since I went out on that ride. I've used the shoes a couple more times, and I'm going to highlight the pros and cons of the SideBike shoes. I don't know what the model is, it's not even stated, but okay, so it is the WT001. That's WT001. This is a size 41. and it fits true to size, so that's a good thing. If you're wearing Shimano or Supercars, Shimano Supercars, the sizing is pretty good. When it comes to nimble as well, 41 is pretty much the same size, so that's a good thing. If you're looking for sizing options, you know that they are quote unquote true to size with mainstream brands. Okay, I'm going to start off with the good and then the bad, and as I go along I'm going to highlight different things. Let me put that shoe aside. All right, first and foremost is the fact that this has a nylon sole. I've mentioned it earlier in the video, but I didn't mention it as a pro or as a con. And the shoe does flex. It is hard to flex. It won't flex like a regular shoe, but it is flexible. But this flexibility does not mean that you got poor power transfer. Now, flexibility really, when it was on the bike, for me, it meant a little bit of comfort. It's almost like how you wear regular shoes and stomp on flat pedals. So you do get that flex, but somehow it doesn't really translate. It doesn't translate to loss of power. And that is really interesting. And I think it's because you're pushing straight down here and goes straight to the pedal. So you don't exactly lose the pedal, the power transfer, unless you're applying power midfoot. Then where the flex happens, and of course the power doesn't go to the pedal. In terms of this shoe as well, another pro is the fact that it fits so well. Now it's only got one BOA dial. If you pay for the more expensive version, they've got two, which means that you get a better fit. But how to get a better fit is pretty simple. As you're tightening up the BOA dial, instead of tightening it up just from using the dial, start by pulling on these strings, Kevlar threads, pulling to tighten the front bit. Once the front is tightened, then while holding on to that, or you don't really have to hold it, start winding it up, and it will give you a really good fit. So the BOA dials and this design, it is also a pretty good feature. Not as convenient as having two dials, but it still provides a very secure fit. Another thing that I like about this shoe is the fact that it is made well. It's well put together. The glues that they've used, the material that they've used as well, is lightweight, it's comfortable, it's breathable, and it's very stylish. $60 shoe looking this good, it just blows my mind. Now the tongue material, on the inside you've got this sort of like leather kind of grippy material, which is nice and soft, super comfortable, and doesn't irritate my feet at all. Looking on here at the front, it's pretty standard, but the front here, they've got material lining the front, so it doesn't wear out any of the knitted stuff if you have toe overlap. So that's another really good thing about this shoe. All right, what else is good? There's one more thing that's good about this shoe, and that is the heel cup. I think I mentioned it earlier on in the video. It's got a very similar material as the Shimano shoes, the higher end S-Fire shoes. And it's got basically material that's facing one direction. So almost like a lint remover. And so when you pull up, it actually grips onto your sock and locks your heel in place. So that's really cool. One last feature that they have are reflective strips over here, so that at night, if you're riding or in the evening, when light shines on it, it sort of reflects light. It's really small, and I don't know how effective it is, but it is a cool feature to have, whether it's a gimmick or not. So those are the pros of this shoe, including the $60 price tag. Now, I must say that even though I paid $60 for them, the price has gone up. I don't think I had anything to do with the price going up, but it's like $83 right now on AliExpress. Okay, now the cons of these shoes. Let's go to the cons of these shoes. So one of the cons, I would say, would be the fact that it has only one BOA dial. Having 2 bow dials is so much better for getting a good secure fit, which means that you tighten the front one to lock your foot in place so your foot doesn't keep sliding forward. And that would happen even if you have a perfect fitting shoe, because you always need space at the front. And then after locking in your forefoot, then you lock in your heel. So one con is that it's only got 1 boa dial. The other con is this, the sole. Even though this is pretty comfortable, I still prefer my really solid soles. And one of the reasons why is because when I stand up, when you're standing up and you're really pumping on the pedal and pulling up, and pushing down, it just feels like a larger platform where your foot can stand on. So it's more stable, and not only is it more stable, it just feels a little bit better. Now, you may agree or disagree, but at the end of the day, that's what I prefer. So I would say that the nylon heel, you get what you pay for. $60 gives you a nylon sole. If you pay a little bit more, you get carbon fiber. So carbon fiber is really good. Another con of this shoe is the insole, but then again, insoles, most of them are made the same. Bog standard foam insoles. Nothing much to it, not much support at all. So if you want some solid, good support, get yourself some custom insoles. If you have relatively low arches, my foot arch isn't particularly high, so I need to use a good arch support. I use Solstar. There are quite a few different brands as well out there, but this will make all the difference. And because the shoe is a little bit flexible, you may actually want to get something that's more rigid on the inside. May or may not help. Okay, the biggest con for this shoe really comes down to the attachment of the cleat. The cleat position is very limited because it's literally 1, 2, 3 holes right there without any option to move up or down to get a more custom fit with the cleat position. For me, I like my cleat position further back. I prefer a slightly more mid-foot cleat position rather than forefoot. And so this for me, while it wasn't ideal, it was still okay, still relatively comfortable with the fact that Shimano cleats and most cleats have space for you to move your cleat position higher or lower on the shoe. So, final conclusion. What do I think of these pair of shoes? Well, for $60, you can't really go wrong. They look the part, they work, super comfortable. And you know, for $60, I wouldn't really worry where I go, what I do with these shoes. I mean, I could replace them, $60. Cheaper than a pair of runners, cheaper than school shoes even. The shoes I get for my girls, my kids. Volleyball shoes are like $200, running shoes in excess of $150. And to get a pair of cycling shoes that are this pretty, $60, a bit of a no-brainer. So this has been my review. If you've enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, comment below. Would love to know what you think about my purchase, $60 shoes versus my Nimbles and everything else. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a new video. Bye.